Now, a while back, like over 10 years ago, I was like maybe 16 or 17 years old. I went to visit family in Connecticut. They lived in this small city called New Britain, which is basically one of the hoods in Connecticut. So me and my cousin were hanging out. We went over one of his friend's house, and my cousin was like close to my age. He's like maybe 1 year younger than me. So we were just hanging at his friend's house, just playing video games, just doing our thing. But then it started getting dark, and we were like, we probably need to go home soon because it was a few blocks away, and we probably would have gotten in trouble if, we stayed out till like midnight. It was around 10 p.m. So we started heading back to my cousin's house, and it was kind of an uphill walk, like the way the street was, it was uphill. And as we were walking up the hill, like we could see in the distance this dude in a wheelchair, like struggling to, wheel himself up the hill. And, since he was in a wheelchair going uphill, we naturally caught up to him pretty quickly. And as we approached the guy, he called out to us and he asked us to wheel him to one of his friend's house. He said, "Can you take me to this woman's house?" I don't know if it was supposed to be his woman or just a friend or whatever, but he was like, "Can you wheel me to my friend's house?" And he said that he would give us money for it. Now, I was very hesitant to do this, but my cousin, he's the adventurous type, so he accepted without even thinking twice about it. And I pretty much had to go with him because I didn't really know where the fuck I was. So I wasn't going to be wandering around this town that I don't know anything about by myself. And as we were pushing this guy around, we kind of chatted a little bit and we exchanged our names and stuff. And he told us that his name was Bebe. Now, I'm assuming that this was a nickname because he kept saying, "We don't die, we multiply." And I don't know if you know, but that's from a animated movie from the 90s called Bebe's Kids. So I'm assuming that's where he got this name from. And he like legit kept saying it over and over again. Like I think that was just his thing. Like I say word a lot. Like when people say stuff to me, I'm like word. And like Naruto says Databayo. He says, "We don't die, we multiply." And actually it didn't sound like that because I forgot to tell you this dude had a really bad stutter. And I don't want to make fun of people that have speech impediments. I just want to tell you like how he sounded. It was more like, "We don't die, multiply." Like it would take him like a minute to get out like 3 words. So because of the fact that he had such a bad speech impediment and he was in a wheelchair, I started to think that maybe he had some kind of like, developmental disorder or something like that. So Bebe asked us what our names were and like asked us what our last name were. And our last name is Peterson. I have a really generic name, I'm sorry. But then Bebe was like, "Do you know Cindy Peterson?" And Cindy Peterson is actually my cousin's mother. That's my aunt. When he heard that, he was like, I'm your uncle. I'm Uncle Bebe. I guess by marriage or something. I don't know. Obviously, you would be hesitant to believe something like that. But then he started just like naming off people in our family. Like, and so he actually knew people in our family. So anyway, my cousin seemed to be really intrigued by this dude. I was still kind of like freaked out at the whole situation. But eventually I noticed that we passed the street that he initially said that he was going to take us to. And after a while he was like, "Okay, turn, let's go this way right here." And I was like, "You mean that dark alley over there?" So yeah, we went into this alley, and in the alley there was 3 people. There was a car and there was 3 people standing around the car. And they were just leaning up against the car like they were, apparently there was something going on. So we roll them up to the car and the window of the car rolls down and there's someone in the car. And to make a long story short, I witnessed Uncle Bebe buy drugs from the dude in the car. Now, I'm pretty sure that it was crack. I'm not sure. I don't really even know what crack looks like or how much it costs or how much you get. If I remember correctly, Uncle Bebe, he pulled out like $60 and he got like a tiny little bag. So maybe, I feel like crack isn't that expensive. Like, it was probably something else. I mean, let me know. I don't know. And the whole time, the 3 dudes that were standing around the car, they were just like eyeing us and it was really creepy. And after that, we left the alley much to my pleasure because I don't want to be there anymore. And then he finally took us back to the street that he initially wanted us to take him to. And he like goes up, it was like one of those apartment buildings where the people gotta buzz you in. So he like buzzed in, and I remember that the name said Johnson, and he buzzed the Johnson or whatever, and he didn't get any answer. So then he started yelling, up to the top, and he started yelling the name Teresa. He was like, "Teresa! Teresa!" But either Teresa didn't hear him or or was ignoring them or wasn't there. So Uncle Bebe gave up and he pulled out his drugs and he instructed us to find him an aluminum can, which my cousin did. And like the whole time, my cousin is not fazed by this. I mean, maybe he lives in this town and sees this shit every day, but I'm like completely like freaked out. But my cousin, like, he's like, okay, I'll find a can, and he went and found one on the ground, and you know, this is the hood and it's not very clean, so it was pretty easy to find a can. Like I said, I don't know anything about cooking drugs or whatever, but I guess he was trying to cook it. Like, he pulled out a cigarette and he had to make some ash, and he pulled out a lighter and he pulled out some other shit, and I don't really know how it worked. But basically, I assume he was trying to either smoke it or cook it or do something, and it didn't work, and he got pissed off. So he, in a fit of rage, he fucking threw the can down the street and was like, just take me home. It turns out that he lived like literally like 2 houses down from my cousin. So we'd like pushed him all the way through like the neighborhood when his house was literally like the way we were going. He told us that we could come back the next day to get the money that he'd promised us, but of course he never gave us any money. And we got back home at like midnight, and of course our parents were like, where the fuck have you been all night? And we were like, we had to take Uncle Bebe home. And of course they were like, who the fuck is Uncle Bebe? Shut the hell up. And later on I was kind of thinking about this dude, and I was like, this guy is either, you know, mentally ill or, you know, developmentally challenged and physically disabled and addicted to drugs. It's like, man, someone took a wrong turn in your life at some point, bro. I'm gonna try to start making a schedule for my videos, and so today's Saturday, so I'm gonna try to make a video every Saturday, or at least every weekend, but I'm gonna aim for Saturday. So check your inboxes every Saturday, and hopefully there will be a The One Janitor video ready for you. Also, I've hesitated to, you know, share my Twitter because I don't use Twitter at all, but you know, Twitter's a thing that people seem to like. So I'm gonna try to start using Twitter more, and I'm gonna try to start sharing my videos on Twitter. So you can follow me on Twitter, but don't get mad if I don't update every 4 hours like everyone else. I'm a Facebook guy, not a Twitter guy. And I think that's all I have to say. Holla!